Hail Internet, it's Paul, it's Matt, the Dork Lords. We are here today talking about the 4th episode of the HBO series Dune Prophecy. The episode entitled, Twice Born.
Twice shy.
That's right. We open with Sister Emmeline having a dream. She's sleepwalking. She follows a figure through the school and witnesses herself cut her own throat. I think it's in the same place that Valia made Dorothea cut her throat. I think the implication is that using the AI machine to reawaken Lila has allowed Dorothea's spirit to haunt the school. We see that most of the sisters are having nightmares. The one exception is Jen, who finds sleepwalking Emmeline just in time to stop her from actually cutting her own throat. We end with Valia confronting the patriarch of the Harkonnens, old Uncle Evgeny. They have harsh words for each other. Evgeny blames her for Griffin's death and for corrupting Tula. In response, an angry Valia refuses to give Evgeny his respirator, and he dies.
Sure.
Griffin then appears, as young as he looked prior to his death. Valia asks if she pushed him too far. He responds that everyone makes their own choices, and we then find out it's not Griffin, but Sister Theodosia.
But Theo.
The conversation applies to her as well, in terms of, like, have I pushed you too far? And she had this aversion to using this shape-shifting power, but she's using it. Yeah. She's like, I'm making my own choice.
Economy of intention there.
That's right. Yeah, good point. She is a face dancer, the type of entity that I theory-crafted Desmond might be. She has agreed to use her talents to aid Valia and the Sisterhood against Desmond. They also have a sample of Desmond's blood, which they intend to use to identify him. Is he indeed a fellow face dancer? I think we'll learn the answer to that in episode 6. All that said, Paul...
That was a lot said, too, Matt.
I know, sorry. What'd you think of episode 4?
A fine episode. I enjoyed it. I liked seeing more of the sisters and what they were sort of going through. I enjoyed the main event there, which was the what was going to be the confrontation when Desmond took it over. That it seemed very Tonight from West Story, because everybody was coming to the special thing.
I thought of it like the Sept of Baelor from Game of Thrones without the climactic explosion, but yes, right. Tonight, I think works
different
better.
Kind of explosion, yes.
That's right. That was a very climactic scene. It was interesting to watch Valia's plans come to fruition and then, devolve. I believe Valia's plan was to get into the council, the Landsraad Council meeting, by finally granting House Harkonnen a truthsayer herself. Sure. Then she uses her fellow sisters to manipulate the other houses into granting House Harkonnen a seat on the council if Harrow Harkonnen agrees to call for an investigation into the murder of Pruitt Richese. So now that she's gotten into the council chamber, her plan is to save the day by thwarting this rebel plot to blow everybody up in the room.
And she, in my opinion, was far too confident that she could do that.
I know!
The fact
Great
that she,
point.
is like, would be surprised that, he has the thing that I was going to expose, means that you did not have a firm grasp of what was happening.
Right. She didn't know where the bomb was because it was with Desmond. So
yeah.
So she was just going to wing it. Like, I'll figure this out. I'm sure it'll be fine.
It's like listening for ticks. Tick, 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 tick.
What?
I don't.
Is that a bomb? Are you a bomb? And so I think and then the big cherry on top would be that she gets to blame an Atreides, Kieran, as this court spy, and so so all would go well, but her plans go haywire.
Yes, they do.
First, she gets the wrench in the works. It's not a deal breaker, but Inez ends up calling for the murder investigation. Essentially, putting herself against her own parents, but it's Harrow doesn't get to do that. So the Harkonnens aren't the ones who call for this investigation. But the big blow obviously comes when Desmond walks in and publicly admits to the killing, but calls it an execution.
Yeah.
What? I think we're just worried about semantics here, guys.
Yeah. It's like one of those lucky things that he's in a culture where killing a kid is bad, but executing them is okay.
If he's playing with an AI toy, it's just fine to burn him from the inside out. No, it's great. He then brings in the rebels, essentially. He destroys the AI robot bomb.
Yes.
And then he psychically burns them all to death, including one of the council members. You noticed that too, I think, where you were like, wait, was he in one of the rebel guys? But it's like, I guess he just got caught up in the I use AI tech sweep that they did anyway. So he probably had an AI toy.
If he was one of these meetings earlier that we missed, let us know.
Right. Yeah. Right. Maybe he was in the background going, I'll take that.
Yes. No. Yes.
But we also do see that using his powers on that scale seriously wounds Desmond. It makes him bleed profusely from his back. And then besides getting a blood sample, I think Valia now knows that his power has limits. He can be weakened. It made me think of the scene from Predator where if it bleeds, we can kill it. So Desmond is now vulnerable. Right, so that was kind of that side of the episode. The other side of the episode, I guess the big culminating thing was this like automatic writing exercise.
Drawing.
Automatic drawing. The sisters take spice and then they engage in this drawing exercise, and they all end up drawing the worm Shai Hulud, and then they draw the glowing eyes. It's pretty I would say eerily effective.
Sure.
I think though that one of my least favorite dialogue scenes from the show comes a few minutes later when Tula and Avila they give a play-by-play of what happened in the drawing scene. And so I'm like, I don't know. I just thought like either show or tell, preferably show, but certainly don't do both. I just thought they summed up the information that was already visually delivered. And so to me, it kind of cut the momentum of the episode a bit. But the actual visual of all the sisters drawing the same things and flipping those pages over, and I thought that was really, really cool. So, just my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't have a problem with that scene.
Okay.
It was nice to for me to hear what she thought of what was going on.
Okay.
And in there you can get a chance to insert nuance that might be missed by the audience while it was happening. It's one thing to have it happen before you and you're like, oh my god, how do we stop this, what's going on? And it's like you might think, okay, you could be talking about they're starting different, but then as it's happening, you could perhaps do that, but then it's like, wow, this is a traumatic event. So if getting some distance and going over it, I didn't personally have a problem with it.
Okay, I guess I was okay if there was some little germ of a plot that I might have missed without the verbal summing up. I think I would have been okay with that. Like, look, if I got it from the scene, I got it. If I didn't, I didn't. We see Emmeline conducting secret meetings with some of the sisters, and she's espousing Dorothea's fundamentalist, anti-machine rhetoric.
Yeah.
Since Emmeline was arguably the most affected by the dreams, I think it's possible that she is under the control in some way of Dorothea's spirit as well, and that maybe it's like Dorothea speaking through her.
Interesting.
I mentioned we might be seeing a schism by the end of this season within the sisterhood, and maybe that's what we're seeing here is kind of a Dorothea-led schism versus Valia and this AI side.
I don't know if it's dirty pool. I mean, I guess to think about the fact that they lose. They have to lose at the end of this.
They do.
Sisters. It's like all these plans that they're doing have to come asunder. So even though the sisterhood survives, they don't have this level of power, at least not that we've seen in the movies. So, they do the talking. They still do that, I guess. But we'll see, I guess, if this database still exists.
Right. I mean, I guess, I don't know. Yeah, good point. Lila wakes up at the end, although she may too be under the influence of Dorothea. I think that's actually fairly likely. And in the Dune universe, a person experiencing kind of the series of events that Lila did can result in what is termed an abomination. Abominations can't control the ancestral spirits they commune with. And typically, the Bene Gesserit has such people killed. So I think ultimately Tula may have to kill Lila after having brought her back. But there are so many characters I could justifiably mat on this show. There's only 2 episodes left. I mean, I'm like, there's Lila, Kieran, Inez, Desmond, the Emperor, Valia, Tula. I mean, they can't all die, right? Theodosia.
Well,
I mean, they,
yeah, it's not Shakespeare.
Yeah, right. Or is it? I don't know. Yeah. They have a big duel scene and everybody dies. I guess I give the show credit for that, in that it's set up a situation where it looks like all of these stories are headed for tragedy. I mean, like, damn, I don't see a happy ending in the bunch.
I mean, I still am quite fond of Inez, and while she's, opposing Desmond and lobbying to go join the Sisterhood, she seems like such a, straight arrow that I can't imagine her being okay with everything that Tula and Valia did. Yeah. And so that might be a part of what's going on, is that maybe she commits to the Sisterhood and is part of the strain that we're more familiar with.
I see. Like brings them back to kind of a different culture, essentially, where they're like, hey, we're not,
And what do you think is next for Kieran?
Yeah, so he's the only rebel that escapes capture and execution.
Well, also the sister that was, like, oh yeah, I'll help you, and then I'll sell you out.
But, right. I mean, but she hasn't sold him out. I mean, that's the thing. She has sold him out to, to the sisters, but he's either living a charmed life or somebody thinks it's politically advantageous to keep him around. I mean, so many people know he's a spy.
Yes.
woof. Anyway.
Yeah. I can't imagine that Desmond is thinking that he hasn't had any interaction with Kieran that I can recall.
Maybe they've seen each other. That's about it, maybe. But you're right. They haven't had any meaningful dialogue.
Like, maybe he's blinded by his misogyny.
We do get some interesting info on Kieran. So I think it's strongly implied that Albert, the kid that Tula let escape from her massacre, is Kieran's dad. And so Kieran probably knows quite well about Tula. If Albert ever made that connection eventually in his life, I think he would have passed it on to his son. So we also learned that Vorian Atreides refused the throne, which kind of reduced, I guess, Kieran's prospects. It would be interesting to know why. Why did he refuse the throne? Maybe that's a plot point to be played out later. Now, I liked this little conflict too. That we have before Inez speaks out against her family, she tries to recruit her half brother Constantine to her cause.
I thought you didn't like that scene.
Some of the dialogue I didn't like, but I like the idea of
her trying to enlist his support.
Yeah, and then him saying like, "Look, I'd rather not lose my head," and he ends up siding with his dad. And there's that scene where he's going to get up and leave the dinner table, and the dad calls him back, and you're like, "Oh, okay," that's a big sign of I'm siding with you, father. But again, those sound like when he's like, "I'd rather not lose my head," or how he puts it. That sounds like famous last words for a kid. Add him to the list. Add him to the list of people that should be matted, apparently, according to this show's narrative structure.
Well, to me, it struck me like the Emperor didn't even make an attempt to get her back to the table. He's like, I'm not even going to talk to her.
Yeah.
But, when he gets up, he's like, oh, come, you get back to the table. And it's like, That's one of your biggest plays as a kid. No, I will not eat. I will go to my room. I am mad at you, parents. It's like only one person can play that card in that family.
That's right. Actually, it's funny. I actually had almost that exact scenario happen way back when I was a kid. This is not going to have nothing to do with the show at all. So hang on just a sec here. But,
okay.
But
you were eating spice. Go ahead.
Kind of. All right. So we had very good friends of ours were visiting from my parents were visiting from Germany. And they were staying at our little place out in Fortson, Georgia. And as a thank you, they made a dish for us. Like, hey, we're going to cook for you tonight.
Yeah.
And so they made this, it was kidneys. And they burned the crap out of them. And there was smoke everywhere in the kitchen. Wow. And so there was like these blackened kidneys.
What they made pudding out of?
But no, these were still in kidney form.
Okay.
And so we sat down at the table. The dining room's right next to the kitchen. There's still smoke in the room.
Sure.
And like, we're obviously supposed to eat this thing. Now, it looks terrible. It smells terrible.
Yeah.
I take a bite. It tastes terrible. I'm like 9 or 10 years old.
Sure.
And so Mom can tell that I don't like it. And she's getting embarrassed because I'm like, oh, ugh. And she's like, Matthew, you either eat what's on that plate, or you can go to bed. And it was like 6 o'clock. So I like just stand up and I'm like, good night, thank you everyone, and I leave. And my sister, who hated it as well, couldn't leave. Because I'd been given the option and had totally taken it. So Dana had to sit there and eat the whole damn burnt kidneys. So she was the Constantine. I was the Inez in the situation. I got to leave. I was so happy. I was in my bed. I was like, woohoo! Watching my TV. Anyway, so yeah. So good on you, Inez. Leave first, so the other kid has to stay.
Oh, wow. Sold your sister out, man.
I did. I'm sorry, Dana. Sorry about that. I'm not sorry, but I'm sorry. Okay, so one question I've got then. So we saw, obviously, very impactful. The sisters all drew the same picture with these glowing eyes, and we've seen these glowing blue eyes in pretty much every episode. Somebody has a dream, a prophetic dream, and at the end of that dream, I think Raquel has that dream. Blue eyes, and then you hear like an automated, mechanical sounding voice. You can't tell what the words are. Like, so, what are those eyes? They're obviously important. Blue eyes are obviously associated with the use of spice.
Sure.
But in this show, blue is obviously has been associated with this AI tech. Anytime you see AI tech, it's got blue light around it.
Interesting.
The voice sounds automated. But that said, if it's simply just like, the ultimate prophecy is like some evolved version of AI or something, like, why shroud it in darkness? Why not just show it? Like, it suggests that the muffled mechanical voice is a misdirect. And that instead it's going to be something tied to the eventual rise of Paul Atreides, if I had to guess. It'd be like, somebody's going to clear away the darkness, and the blue eyes are, someone on Arrakis or something like that. I don't know. But it's just odd that they're hiding the ball there. Like, what to what end are you hiding? Why can no one see what's behind these eyes? Will that be
reveal that we
a satisfying reveal, or that we even see the season? Maybe we don't, but just will it be satisfying when it comes? Because I'm like, I'm not sure why no one can see it. Like, it's just, it's odd. Anyway, I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
To be honest with you, I don't feel like I pulled that many. I needed that. Them, like, they saw this, and then we saw that.
All right, Paul, I'm so sorry. I take it all back. That scene was really important, and I'm glad they put it in. That's funny.
I am interested in the dynamics of the family.
Yep.
I thought it was interesting the way Theo seemed to say that taking on the guise of Valya's dead brother, that she was able to understand things from his perspective, and understand the sacrifice that she had made, and that's part of why she was able to commit to Valya.
Interesting. Okay,
So,
I was thinking that she was just
and-
overheard, but I see what you're saying.
Like the value of changing into somebody else, you might think, oh, okay, well, yeah, you can go into situations to pretend to be somebody else, and then people won't know that you're really there. But I suspect it might also be a part of their whole truth vision thing. So you take on the role of that person, and you understand things about them that you might not necessarily understand other ways. So I wonder if that's not the true value of her ability.
I guess another question that comes up then as I'm sitting here is Theodosia just another face for her, for this entity? Or is she actually Theodosia and then she can transform, or is
it does seem to take something out of her, so it'd be it'd be
oh, I see what you mean.
hard to imagine that she walks
Just
around
keeps
like
it up
this all the
forever.
time, and then
Okay.
I'm gonna go to bed early tonight. I don't want any of this kidney pie, and also I think I'm gonna get some rest.
Yes, but do not enter. Do not, whatever you hear inside, do not come in. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm interested to see how. Yeah, I mean, they've got 2 episodes and they have a lot of plot threads.
Yeah.
And obviously, this is like a season 1. There could easily be a season 2 and all that. It probably will be, but just to
I
say,
think it's doing well
what's the
enough
resolution to this season? That I'm not sure what that resolution moment's going to be.
Yeah.
Maybe just it'll be a reveal of who Desmond actually is. I do think now that they've got his blood and blah blah blah, they're kind of saying, okay, we're gonna let you know what Desmond is by the end of this season. I feel like that's what's happening. But we shall find out. We'll be back talking about episode 5.
Yes.
Thank you as always, Paul. Appreciate it, good sir.
No problem.
And we'll talk to everybody next time.
Bye.
Bye.